Hello, this is Craig Mertens with GraphicsFlow. For those of you that are not aware, the new corporate identity for digital art solutions is GraphicsFlow. So if you get emails from me, it'll be from graphicsflow.com. Answer our phones, GraphicsFlow. If you are on one of our on our website, our new GraphicsFlow website, you'll get to see all about our new technology, which is super exciting. And so what we wanted to do here today is kind of introduce a new product line that we call Graphics Builder Graduation Edition. And the kind of the genesis of this product was a year ago, about this exact same time. I was talking to my good client in he's in the New York City area, and he's a photographer, and he does senior portraits and all of that. And he was bemoaning the fact that hey man, I don't have any business. We're like totally locked down. Normally I've got a zillion kids here. And he said, well, hey, I just out of curiosity, do you have photos from like the last year's yearbook photos? And he was like, yeah, I got all of those. And I said, dude, why don't you put together some, yard signs and put together a yard sign program? You can get all those kids, you have a sublimation system. So you can, get an 18 by 24 sublimatable sign blank and just sublimate, designs on there and offer that as opposed to doing the normal senior portrait. You have their last year photo. And he's, oh, that's a great idea. And so he kind of gave me this idea is like there's a lot of people in that are in the same boat. Depending upon what part of the country you're in, everyone's been influenced by the pandemic in a different way. So for instance, last year during graduation, we didn't have any in-person graduations here in Arizona. Some parts of the country did. This year, it's kind of all over the place. Some places are hybrid. Some places will have regular full in-person graduations, and other places that won't have any in-person graduations. But here's what hasn't changed. What hasn't changed is the level of enthusiasm for your students. And whether it's for the graduating class or even, middle school graduation or anything to do with the school, there's a huge level of interest and, enthusiasm for the graduating student. They're on to the next chapter of their lives. So for instance, I bike every weekend, and in our community, it's terrible, but I see every sign. When you're in the business as long as I've been in there, you look at things a little bit differently. So I'm always looking at signage, I'm looking at vehicle wraps, I'm looking at t-shirt designs. And in our community, you can't drive down any street without seeing either an 18 by 24 Coroplast printed sign with congratulations Saguaro seniors or Acadia or Coronado. And in many cases, you see vertical banners hanging from the front porch. And in some cases, you'll see, hey, congratulations, Bobby's going to Notre Dame or wherever they're going. And so there's a huge marketplace for this kind of content and for creating this kind of a business opportunity. So back to my friend that's in the New Yorker, he said, great, I want to do this. What do I do for graphics? I was like, oh, wow, man. It's like, we don't really have anything for that. Like we have things that like I could make something. And so I made him a few graphics and I emailed it to him, and he was just totally stoked about it. And he put together this whole grad program, and he's repeating this grad program this year. And so what we wanted to do with that realization, what I realized is there was a good business opportunity for our customers going into grad season. And we decided to actually kind of mad scramble and do a product. We kind of kicked this idea around for quite a while, and I was finally like, let's just do this because people are just asking us about it, and people are really excited. So we came up with Graphics Builder Graduation Edition. If you're not familiar with Graphics Builder, I'll kind of explain to you what Graphics Builder has been, and then I'll show you kind of how this one fits in. Graphics Builder is a series, and it's a series of artwork that is very high end, very retail oriented. We provide the files in multiple formats. So we provide the files in Adobe Illustrator format for our Mac, Windows, Adobe Illustrator users. And then we also provide the files in CorelDRAW format for our CorelDRAW Mac window users as well. And so each one of these collections kind of has a set of themes, and I'll go in and open up Graphics Builder 12 just to kind of give you an idea. So these themes were designed around popular retail styles, popular design styles, more along the lines of not so much subject matter specific, but theme specific and style specific. And so we started doing these graphics builders about a year ago, June. I guess it's been a year. We're up to 15 of these now, plus the two mass builders. So I guess there's 17 of them. So this has been a series that we've been releasing, pretty much every other month for the last, a little over a year. And so it's been hugely popular. So what we said is like, hey, maybe what we could do is a supplementary um, graphics builder that was military themed. We did that. People love that. That's blown up. That's been a huge, big deal. Military themed graphics builder. Awesome. Okay. And we did actually 2 of those, but we did the graduation edition as a part of the graphics builder theme, but it's a little bit different. And what makes it different is the fact that we're utilizing uh, uh, banners and signage as well as like t-shirt design. So let me kind of show you how that goes. I'm going to turn off my webcam so you can see my screen nice and full screen. So what are we looking at right here? So what you're looking at here is an online lookbook. So we have a generic website that we've created that's called My Art Options. It has no theme or no branding to Digital Art Solutions or GraphicsFlow anywhere on this website. It's a generic website, and we utilize this to host generic catalogs so you can refer your clients to these catalogs. So let's play this out. Let's say you've been involved with the local school, local high schools in your community. You've been involved with booster clubs. Maybe you've done work for the band or the cheerleading or the football team. So people know you. And let's say that you wanted to, kind of introduce this idea of the signage and a quote program for them as a fundraising program. And so you wanted to get the kind of the scope and the idea to them visually, right? These catalogs allow you to do that. So this catalog allows you to create a visual theme, get this digital catalog, people can flip through it, and they can see really what this whole thing's about. And we even used real product photography that we license just to give it some, kind of, it makes it more genuine. So on this page, this is a perfect example. This right here is an 18 by 24 sign that could be printed onto Coroplast. This, and if you don't know what coroplast is, that's corrugated plastic that looks like cardboard. If you look at political signs, they have the little step stakes in them, and you could get these printed, and then you could simply sell this as a fundraising program. And you could name a retail price. The people at the school would purchase these, and generally speaking, these are distributed to one central entity, and they go around and they distribute these to all the students in their homes, or they deliver them at school. So that's a signage opportunity. This right here is a banner, and in this case, it's a vertical banner. Again, digitally printed, a vertical banner. This would hang from, this is I believe is a 2x4, and this would hang from the, a garage, or it would hang from the front porch of a home. Very simple. And we also did layouts that were horizontal. This is a t-shirt graphic. So what do we have here? You have a set. You have a set, and you can offer a set of products that are, that are connected, a set of products that are part of a theme, quote, part of a pack. So you can offer a pack. You can say, hey, we can do the t-shirt. You can choose from either the banner. It's gonna be a little bit more expensive, or the coroplast, and boom, you're selling. So here's the cool thing about graduating classes. If you were in my graduating class, Chaparral High School just up the street, there's 565 kids in my graduating class. That would be an awesome order if you did something for every kid there. If you go to some, obviously some of the smaller high schools in the rural communities, you might have less than 50 kids in the class. It's still a really nice sized order. And so as a result of that, you have a program that you can sell into that marketplace. And even more importantly, now you have your foot in the door. So I've talked to many, many clients in the last couple of weeks about this product line, and some people are already involved in this. And so they were really excited, like, we got artwork for that. That's great. But I also talk to clients who are like, hey, listen, I've never done this before. How do I get involved in this? Well, here's the neat thing. You don't have to do the printing yourself. There's a wide variety of trade printers, especially if you're members of like ASI or Sage or PPAI. There's trade printers that will do all the printing of the banners for you, and they will do all the printing of the coroplast, and in some cases, even getting the t-shirts printed. And so you wouldn't necessarily have to do the production yourself. Now, on the t-shirt side of things, what I would probably be inclined to do is order in transfers. I don't know that I would necessarily have these direct screen printed. I would probably just order in transfers, order in the blanks, and then just press to order. That's probably how I would do it. On the banners and the coroplast side, depending if I'm doing quote mass personalization, where I'm changing the name for every kid, I'm going to use a trade printer to do that. And so I'm going to go into my product locator for ASI, or I'm going to go into my product locator for Sage or PPAI, and I'm going to locate a trade printer that prints Coroplast signs or also does banners. Probably going to be the same printer. The way they do the printing on the signs nowadays is typically not screen printing, it's digitally printed. And they'll, in many cases, they'll do UV printers, which has a hard finish, which is more of a outdoor durable type scratch resistant sign. We don't need that for a one-time graduation sign. Don't need it. They can do any kind of solvent inkjet printing process. They could do, and the same thing is true for the banners. So this is a very, very common style printer. You could also partner with your local sign shop. If you have a Signorama or Fast Signs in your community, you can go to them and say, hey, listen, I'm doing this wholesale program. I need some room and some margins to make some money. Would you be willing to do the printing for me? And you could partner with somebody locally as well. But the key is you want to have a kit. You want to have a set of products that you can sell and bundle together. So why the banner and the Coroplast sign? Here's why. Some people are, personal style. They might be a little bit more tuned in to wanting something maybe a little bit more flamboyant, right? And a banner's, it's a little bit more flamboyant than a little 18 by 24 post, step stake sign in your front yard. So some people might want something a little bit bolder, but also price point, because the banner price point is going to be considerably higher than the Coroplast sign. Coroplast sign, you're going to be in the $30 range here at retail. On this banner, you're going to be in the $75 to $80 range here at retail. So not everybody's going to be able to afford, doing this banner like this. So what is it really going to cost you to get an 18 by 24 Coroplast sign printed? It's really variable. If you had the printing equipment yourself and you're doing it yourself, this is $1 for the Coroplast and it's $1 for the step stake. And if you're just printing it on one side with the solvent ink printer, probably ink costs are going to be $1. And so, pretty expensive to do that yourself. Costing you $3 or maybe $4 to print, and you're selling it for 30. That's pretty good margins. But what if you're outsourcing this to the local sign shop? If you're going to outsource it to your local sign shop, they're going to charge you something a little bit closer to retail. So you're probably going to be paying somewhere in the neighborhood of, between $10 and $15 cost to do, like an 18 by 24 like this. If you're working with a trade printer, then you're buying wholesale. And if you're working with the trade printer, you're going to get a cost that's a wholesale cost, more likely going to be under $10. Okay. So there's a difference between working with the local sign shop who's going to sell you basically a discount off of retail versus a wholesale price that you would buy through a promotional products supplier. That's a trade printer. And that's the word people use, trade printer. They print for the trade. They're not selling directly to end users. So the margins are massive. And on a banner like this, on an $80 banner, you can, if you're printing this yourselves, you're gonna be less than a $25 cost. But if you're getting somebody else is printing it for you for the trade, you're probably going to be in the $40 to $50 range. So even at $40 cost, selling it for 80 to 100, there's a big fat profit margin. And so let's play this out. Let's play it out as a case, a real case scenario. And by the way, if you're going to do personalized photos in these, you're going to charge premium for that versus just doing a generic design. So the way we would play it out, let's say we have a school in a senior class, and there in that senior class there is 400 kids. Okay, and let's say we get 25% participation in this program. So we have 100 orders, and each order averages a T-shirt, which is going to be $20, and at least and let's say it's just Coroplast sign, right? So those two products together, we're going to bill out on that $50. Our profit margin on the shirt, if we're just ordering transfers and pressing them in the blank shirt, we'll call it between $1 and $2. We'll just say $2. The transfer, you're going to do gang up transfers, probably order in a 13 by 19 sheet. You can get 2 transfers for a 13 by 19 sheet. Say $4 a transfer, so $2 a print. So $2 for the transfer, $2 for the shirt, $4 a shirt. Selling it for $20, that's $16 net profit, right? Pretty slick deal. The Coroplast, let's say we get it trade printed for $10, we're making $20. So we're making $20 and $16. We're making a total of $36. Multiply that by 100, you just made $3,600. That seems like a slam diggity dunk, but we're not done yet, because what we're going to do is we're going to do this as a fundraiser. And the fundraiser, we're going to pay a revenue share back to the organization for every single one that's sold. And so let's say we pay them a 20% revenue share. Okay. So that collective product was $50. So they're going to get 20% of that. So they're going to get $10 a pop. So they're going to get $1,000 of that. You're going to get to keep $2,600. Seems like a slam dunk. Rinse and repeat. That's why people do these programs. They're crazy popular. And once you get your customers conditioned, that school district or that organization conditioned, they're coming to you every year. Every year they're coming to you. So what's the sales, platform that you're going to utilize in order to do this? These kind of programs can be done off of flyers. You can old school it and do a flyer. They can email the flyer out. People fill out the forms. They collate the forms. They turn them into, team, parent, PTA president, however they're going to handle that. That can be done. That is very, very old school. And is it still done? Yes. Is it my favorite way to do it? Nope, it isn't. Because what we want to do is we want to make this super crazy convenient for the customer. The best way to do this kind of a program is through an e-commerce platform. Obviously, our company is part of the Inksoft family of companies. An e-commerce platform is ideal for this. And so if we set up a store, I went to a store for Mark Heiss for Yellow Springs, in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Mark's got a nice little company there. This is his kind of community school store. Back when the pandemic hit, Mark really wasn't involved in the apparel for the local high schools and school community. He has a store in Main Street, Yellow Springs, really neat little town in Ohio. He has a lot of retail. He had just signed up for Inksoft, and Mark was on a webcast for us not too long ago, and he remarked about when the pandemic hit and we got locked down, he said, my first 4 days involved me and my daughter, who runs the business with me, sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves. And then we decided, what are we going to do? And he decided to take it online. And so one of the things that Mark did is he just created this silly little t-shirt. He took one of the templates from his digital art solutions artwork, and he made this fun little spring break t-shirt right here, which ended up doing over $7,000 through the e-store. He got permission from the school. They said, hey, listen, we're going to do the spring break t-shirt, the COVID spring break. If you guys can promote it through your social media and e-commerce, or Instagram, Facebook, as well as through a blast email, we'll kick you guys down a percentage of every one of these shirts produced. So initially, when he was doing this production, he was doing it with his direct-to-garment printer. The orders got too big. He just couldn't keep up. And so what he did is he ordered in stock heat transfers, a bulk transfer program where they bulked up a couple transfers onto one master sheet, cut it up with the scissors, print it. And he still has some of these transfers left after multiple reorders. One of the advantages of doing this with transfers or even DTG printing is he could give them different color options. And so there was different color options that were provided later on. Mark went in and did a hoodie option, did a couple other different designs. And all of a sudden you took a company that really wasn't actively engaged in the school market within their community, is now the dominant player in that market in the community. And that was 100% because of controlling the commerce experience via e-commerce store. Think about it. If you have an e-commerce store and that customer doesn't have to front any inventory, doesn't have to collect taxes, doesn't have to collect credit cards, all they're doing is receiving a bulk order of product and distributing it, where you could even drop ship for them. It's kind of a no-brainer. And 20% as a revenue share, that's a no-brainer. Mark puts it this way. He says, we tell them, hey, that's your mailbox money. And I'm like, well, what's mailbox money? He said, mailbox money is when they go to the mailbox once a month, they have a check in the mail. That's it. And they have done literally nothing. And that there's a very wide appeal to doing this. A program with graduation product whether it's signs and banners or whether it's wearables, is going to work much better in the context of an e-store like this. And we realized that there's other platforms for doing this kind of e-commerce, but in my opinion, the Inksoft platform is the gold standard for doing this. It's super easy for Mark to go set up his e-commerce store for Yellow Springs, and this store I think is up to $21,000 now. So, well, I haven't checked that in a while. It's probably quite a bit more than that. Now he's full circle. He's doing a whole nother series, and he's added all these different products. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the graphic that we created over in our let's see here. We're going to take the graphic that we created, and then what we're going to do is we are going to create a whole themed set of graphics specifically for that school and specifically for that particular setting. And then what we're going to do is we are going to get that in front of the customer, get them collaborating with us on the graphics, saying, I like this, I don't like this, we want to change that. Because once we get that part going, guess what? They're ours. I had an interesting email this morning for a client, and he's a really good dude, and I've known him for a long time, and he was pretty dejected. And what was he dejected about? He was dejected because he was working with a customer that was supposedly his friend, and the friend had a band, and the friend needed 100 shirts for their band theme. And the friend, he quoted the guy $8.50 for a single color, one color shirt. The guy was providing the artwork and the logo, and the guy went online and found it for $5.50 and said, hey, Vern, I love you, you're my friend, but 550 versus 850. And it was humiliating for Vern. He was humiliated, and to his credit, my heart goes out. That's it's a business reality we have. A one color print on a t-shirt, 850 is a fair price in my opinion. But there's going to be people that are going to be willing to do that for 550 or 450 or 350. There's always going to be people to do that. What I told Vern, and we had a little bit of an email exchange, I said, listen, if you build your business around the graphics, this is our new military collection. If you build your business around the graphics, they can't get that graphic from anybody but you. So they're kind of stuck with you if they want that cool graphic. When you build your business around logos on stuff and it's purely reproducing other people's artwork, they can shop that around. So he got shopped because they already had the art, shopped it around, found somebody that was willing to do it for 550. So if you take a slightly different approach, and this is the approach that I advocated, which was, hey, we'll take that low hanging fruit. If we're doing logos on stuff and just reproducing people's artwork, and I'm not getting price shopped, and somebody wants to place an order with me, they can do that. It's $8.50. But I'm not going to dip my margins down to 550. I might dip my margin down to maybe 750, or maybe in a rare occasion 650. I might be willing to do that, but I'm not going to just quote, drop my pricing just because the customer asks. I'm doing this logos on stuff business kind of as supplementary. It's not my primary business. If you can engage the customer in the artwork and the graphic, they can't go anywhere. You condition them to that you're the creative resource to them. And a very wise man and a customer of mine once said that graphics are the currency of our industry. And I really agree with that. All things considered equal, it's the graphic that really sets you apart. And when you look at e-commerce habits that have changed so much in the last 12 months, because people that were normally kind of resistant to buying online, all of a sudden, because of the various stages of lockdown within the pandemic, they were buying all their stuff online. And so all of a sudden, e-commerce has absolutely blown up. I listened to a great episode of Marketplace on NPR last week, and they were talking about the company Real and their explosive growth in e-commerce. And the president of the company attributed that 100% to consumer preferences that changed due to the pandemic and lockdown. 100%. And I was just like, yeah, right on. I mean, I know that already. So why am I telling you that? Here's why. If we get the idea in front of the client and we let them collaborate, and they see that part of the product line, and they want to interact with us in customizing this, whether it's colors or logo or whatever we're doing, we kind of got our hooks into them. And it's going to be really hard for them to shop this. So I'm going to show you a technology piece that's going to enable us to do that. And the technology piece is the new technology from GraphicsFlow. And this is called GraphicsFlow, name of our company and the name of the technology. And the graphics flow technology, it works based on 4 parts. And so part number 1 is the ability to upload your artwork, and you can create, here, I'll just create a little folder here. So we can go in, upload our artwork, and we can preview and store the artwork in the cloud. And as a result of that, when we need to access it in the future, guess what? It's just sitting in the cloud. We can go over here, go to File, click on it, download it, and we're done. So how is this different than like a Dropbox or a Google Drive? Here's how it's different. Okay. In the GraphicsFlow technology, okay, in GraphicsFlow, it will create image previews of all the common graphics formats. So we internally in our organization, we use Google Drive. That's what we use to save and archive our files. But unfortunately, with Google Drive, guess what I can't do? I can't preview common image file formats. And so if I'm dealing with a common image file format, like a AI or a PDF or something like that, if I can't see it, it really doesn't help me a whole lot. And that there's a technical term for that, and that technical term for that is bummer. And so if I go in and upload files in my graphics flow, and those files have different image formats, I can preview them. I can actually see them. I can see a file that is an AI file. I can see a file that's a CDR. That's unusual. I believe we're the only online platform that can preview CDR files. JPEG, DST, embroidery file. Here's a really nice looking rendering of an embroidery file. Doesn't that look great? EPS files, PDF, PSD, PNG, SVG. So these aren't just previews, they're high resolution previews. And so you can really see the artwork. And so this is very useful when you're collaborating with the client in trying to get them to interact with you in terms of making changes or production. Like let's say you're trying to talk to them and you say, hey, listen, we can do this as a 2-color screen print, or we could do this as a digital print. Let me show you what it's going to look like as a screen print. And let me show you another version of it that was going to look like in digital. Let's get a different coloring. So being able to get these previews and have these files very safely stored in the cloud is kind of an awesome thing. Okay, so that's just on its surface, that's an awesome thing. The other part of GraphicsFlow is the approval process. So approvals are not really what you think. People think of an art approval as, hey, listen, I'm going to create a design for somebody and we're going to pop it up to the cloud and they're going to sign off on it, right? Which is fine. We do that all the time. But an art approval is also a prospecting tool. And so if we went into, this is a real world example here. We had a client, she emailed in and she thought we were a outsourced graphics company. And she says, hey, I need to get this design done for the Moments Gladiola Festival. And I was like, I kind of explained to her what we did. And I said, hey, listen, sounds like you're in a pinch. I'll do the graphic for you. And so what I did is I went into our graphics builder collection and I sucked down this particular template here. I did a search and found apparently a really nice looking clip art image of a gladiola. I downloaded a photograph of a gladiola. I sampled the colors from the photograph into her design, and then I did a mock-up and I sent this to her, and she is now subscribed. Curly Shirley is now subscribed to this particular mock-up, and then she can go in and do commenting on it or approve it. This is the concept behind GraphicsFlow. And one of the things that's really neat about GraphicsFlow, it also gives you access to the legacy artwork from Digital Art Solutions. We are now our GraphicsFlow, but we repackaged all the legacy artwork for DAS. So you can come in here and do a little search. If you need swim team designs, boom, there you go. You can click on a swim team design, download it, and start editing. Boom. So why am I showing you this? Because I'm going to show you how we're going to localize one of those designs. We're going to mock it up. We're going to pump it up to GraphicsFlow, and I'm going to show you kind of the process we're going to use to get the sale, because nothing happens before the sale. So in terms of the artwork for the Graphics Plus, or excuse me, the Graphics Builder artwork, the artwork is going to be in 2 formats. It's going to be in the CorelDRAW format, and then it's also going to be in the format for Adobe Illustrator. Mac or Windows doesn't make any difference. So If you're accustomed to editing files, you've done that before, you can simply go in and edit the file like you normally would in Illustrator or Corel. It's a little bit different if you're using CorelDRAW and you're utilizing our very popular and famous Smart Designer add-on software for Corel. And the reason for that is when we purchase graphics builder collections and we have the Smart Designer software, what we do is we go in and we enable that in what's called the content feed. So the content feed, think of this as like a podcast. And so the content feed stores all the artwork in the cloud. You said, here's all the artwork that I purchased, and I want to download the graduation edition. Just click on it, download it, and installs. It's on the local computer. And so it's on the local computer, and any computer within your organization that is running the Smart Designer software will have that on the local computer and also safely backed up in the cloud, which is great. Okay. So once that software, that artwork is on the local computer, then what I can do is I can go to something called the graphics browser right here. Graphics browser will allow me to preview any, there's all my Zoom backgrounds, preview any local files on my hard drive, any clip art that I have installed on my system, or any design templates. So in our world, a design template is a stock layout that has text and graphics in it. That's what it is. It's just a stock layout. So if I want to edit this design right here as a t-shirt design, I would just simply click on it and the design would open. I'm in the Smart Designer software. What I would do is I would go over here to templates. It says, hey, let's edit the text. We're going to come down here where it says graduate. That's good. Class of, we're going to change this to 2021. And it'll change that for me dynamically. I'll show you something kind of neat on the word grad. I'll just put one different letter in there just so you can see how that works. But graduated, right? So right there, do you see how it changes the whole text effect? I didn't have to change the individual layers, just change the effect. Under Central High School, we'll leave high school alone, but we will call this Eastern. Okay. If we want to get a new image in here, I could simply go down to change art. I could go up to my GraphicsFlow and do a quick keyword search for another image and import it in here. Or what I can do is I can use the graphics browser in Smart Designer to do that as well. So I could come over here and say, hey, you know what? We need a bulldog. So let's go and open up a bulldog here. And we'll just double click on the bulldog, get that nice new bulldog in here. And then we're going to get the colors straightened out. So the odds of you getting the colors in the correct color for that particular high school are pretty remote. So what we want to do is we want to localize the colors here. Now, a couple things we could do. I could just grab my dropper here and drop the purple in here. That helps a little bit. But the other thing I can do is I can use the feature in Smart Designer called Edit Colors right here. And we'll go down here and consolidate this. So we'll say, hey, you know what? Let's keep this. We'll just keep those 4 colors. We'll do a quickie little reduction here. So we got rid of the little burgundy part. And then let's swap this out. And we're going to make the purple navy blue. And the rest of the colors are all good to go. I'm going to switch my color palette to Pantone solid coated. And we'll go down here. We'll do like a reflex blue, a nice fun little blue here. Click on it. It's recolored. So at this point, we're ready to go. And you know, nothing. We're not taking anything away. We can go down here and make this bigger, or smaller. So the same thing that somebody would do in Illustrator, Corel. We just kind of sped things along. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go down here and create a virtual sample. And I'm just going to go to the virtual samples function within the Smart Designer application. And I'm going to pick on a shirt color. And I think I'm going to do like a kind of an Oxford gray there. Here we go. Looks good. So we'll click on that shirt. You know, everything looks better with a weathered effect. So I think I'm going to add a weathered effect to this. So I'll go to the weathered effect feature in Smart Designer. Going to sample the shirt color. And then we're just going to click on the effect we want. And it's created that effect. And boom, we're good to go. So 2 things that we want to do with this. Number 1, I probably want to save this because it's cool. So let's go ahead and save it. And what do we call this? Eastern concept. There's that. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to export this as a PNG file. And we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're going to do it as a PNG file, and I'll show you why that is important in a second, because we're going to get a beautiful preview out of that. And so we're going to export that as a PNG file, and then we're going to also do the same thing with the design itself. And yeah, we're going to save that. And then we're going to export that as a PNG file. So all of the working files for this particular job are all saved locally on my computer. Okay, so let's do a banner layout too. So we'll do the same thing in a banner layout. So we've got the same setup there. And we're going to go back over here. We're going to grab the banner version of the design right here. And what I want to do, I don't want to resize it to the page. I want it to come in at original scale. So we're going to come over there. We're going to bring that in at original scale. I'm going to grab a photo. So remember I was talking about my customer from New York. This is this is the design. One of the designs I did for him last year was this one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract the photo out of here because we're going to use this photo in the other design. So well, actually, let's recolor it first. So let's go back down here. I think we got to do one little recolor. Making life easy for me, I could just take this dude right here and pop him in, save myself a little time. And we'll put this bad boy over here. And then let's go and change this to Eastern High School. And let's see here. Was it Central? We're going to change that to Eastern. And there you go. Perfect. Don't really have to change anything other than name. We can go and change the name, but we'll leave Tyler Johnson in there. And let's just get the colors set up again real quick. So let's go in and change the colors. And see, we're going to take, I think, the purple, right? We're going to merge these two colors, and we're just going to make this that reflex blue again. Yep. Oh, got a little overzealous there. And oh yeah, we got an issue here because of the background here. So I'm going to do a little bit of recoloring. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the dropper here and take that white. I think I'm going to make that white. Ooh, that doesn't work so great. So we probably want to reverse that out. No, I got a better idea. Let's do this. Let's just go add a white boundary around that. Then it'll pop really nice. So little white border, thicken that bad boy up a little bit. Looking good. Yeah, that way it will pop. And this point, now we could do the recolor here, and we're just going to take purple and I think just make purple blue. Oh, yeah, but so this is the dark color there too. And make that white. Boom. There we go. We got that all set up. So what I'm going to do, don't really care about page size. We can make the page size bigger if we want. If we want to do that, we can do that. But this is the production file that's going off to the trade printer right here. And so same thing, let's save it. And then we're just going to call this banner. There's that. And then I'm going to save this as a PNG file too. Export. As banner, looking good. All right, so where do we go from here? Well, we got to get this in front of the client. And that's the whole name of the game is we got to get this bad boy in front of the client. We don't have an order yet. Oh, hey, yeah, actually, one thing we got to do? We're going to put the photo in here. That's the part we're missing. So let's take our little friend over here. And put that in the banner. So I'm just going to go and make that bigger. And I'm going to do it what's called in Corel, you do what's called a power clip. You just drag it in there, you release it, you say power clip, then you just say edit power clip, and you move it around to get it exactly where you want it. There's that. Hit finish, looking good. And we're done. That's it. We're ready to roll. And we can go jazz it up a little bit more, add a text effect or whatever we want to do. We can do all that. But let's go back to GraphicsFlow real quick. This is where it gets really cool. So I'm going to go to My Art, and I'm going to do a new folder, and we're going to call it Eastern Graduation Concepts. Right? There you go. Create. Boom. And I'm going to open up that folder, and I'm going to upload some artwork to that. And so we are going to upload the original CDR, the PNG, original CDR, PNG, and the two concepts right here. We're gonna upload all that artwork. Open. And so it's going to open. That's going to be nice and safely stored in the cloud. And look at that, previews. Awesome. So there's all the art assets for that particular job. Pretty awesome. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to art approvals, and we're going to say create a new approval. And Eastern Graduation Concepts. Easy. You can put any kind of, please feel free to comment on any of the graphics. And we will update the changes. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to add this really cool guy. I'm already a accommodator on this. I'm going to do my personal email account, chrismertz@gmail.com. So I'm going to add myself, and I'm going to add myself as an approver. Please approve to begin production. Perfect. So I just invited myself. So what is this link right here? This link right here is a generic link that you can post in your social media. This is a link that you could post to a Facebook post. You could post it as a link in your website. You can post this as part of an email campaign. This is a link that does not allow commenting. Only this individual right here can comment. This is just a generic link. So if we wanted to send this generic link and they could look at all the designs, they could, we could go in and do that. So let's go and add the My Art from Eastern. And we want to add the PNG files. And the reason we're adding the PNG files, these have the highest resolution. So let's see here. And we want to add these to the art approval. Oh, that is, we already did an art approval, didn't we? Huh, there it is, we already set it up. So right here, we have the art approval right here. Any kind of comments that come through, I'm going to automatically be notified in the app and also an email. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to log into my email account real quick. And there's my art approval. And I'm going to click on that. View approval. This is what I'm looking at. I can make all kinds of comments on here if I want to. So I can go over here and say, hey, looks great. Move forward. Boom. Send. I just got an email and I got notified in app. Okay. Come over here and we said, hey, we want to approve that one. So let's approve it. Okay. Come over here and we're going to approve this one. Okay. And probably want to change the spelling on that. So this is the experience that the end user is going to get. They can put commenting in here. They can approve. They can, anything, and we'll approve this one too. and I'll click on the disclaimer. So on artwork, there's actually a little disclaimer that's going to come up and says, hey, the colors are going to be all right. So let's go back to GraphicsFlow and see what happened. So we go back to GraphicsFlow, that particular art approval, it's now been approved by Craig. There's a log of that when it occurred. Here's my comment right here. It's all ready to roll. So some of the neat things that you can do with these art approvals, that's super awesome. If I click on the actual graphic, I can go put the production process. I can say, hey, this is a transfer. That's a vinyl transfer. This is the width of the dimensions of the graphic. This is the colors that we're utilizing in the graphic. So I can put Pantones in here, or I can go and mix my own colors up if I wanted to. In here, it's completely up to me how we do that. If you have hex values or RGB numbers, you can do that as well. Watermarking. So I'm not as concerned about watermarking on this right here and on this right here. It's pretty small. You know, it still looks good if you click on it, but I am very concerned about that on this graphic. So what I'm going to do on this graphic, I'm actually going to add a watermark. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say, hey, let's change the background color on this. So we're going to change that up a little bit. And we'll make it kind of just a simple gray color. There we go. And then we're going to add a watermark. That watermark now has kind of a dark color combo, but on a light background, it should be light. So we're going to switch that to light. Now I have a degree of protection on this file. They're very clearly notified that this is a copyright, that they can't use this art, and they're going to have a hard time printing that with that big old watermark through the middle of it. So this is the power of the tool that is GraphicsFlow. And what's even cooler about this is this. Now I can say, hey, let's add a few stock designs in there. And it says here, just for grins, I'll put a couple more concepts in there. We'll do some senior concepts in there. And we'll add that one. And I'll add, you know, kind of an 80s look in here. And we'll do grad squad. And we'll do the senior design. And we'll do this one with the crown and a roster shirt. And so now I've created a product showcase for the customer. They have their own custom product showcase. And I'll tell you a kind of an interesting experience that I had when we first went live with GraphicsFlow. Had a really good customer, and this customer was on the beta for GraphicsFlow. And when we went live, he got shut out. He had to put his credit card in. And so he had to you know, start his actually paid membership. So he sent me an email. I called him up and I said, Scott, what's the deal? And he says, yeah, dude, I've got to get into my account. I go, why? He says, well, I did all these art approvals as a prospecting campaign to all my coaches. He's a former high school football coach, really embedded in his community. And he shared with me that a lot of times his orders all pile up at the same time of the year because in the school business and what he's involved in, back to school is a big rush. And so his idea was that he was going to get a jump on all of his coaches and decision makers by going in and curating artwork from the stock collections and also adding some of his own designs here so that he could get a jump. And so the reason he needed to get in his account, he was getting all these comments from clients wanting him to do mock-ups and you know, localize these to their schools, their colors, their mascots. And I said, hey, Scott, that's great. I'm super excited for you. And that's exactly what we intended you to do. But do you mind putting that in a little email? And we'll use that as a testimonial on our website. So you'll see Scott's testimonial on the GraphicsFlow site. This is the tool. And, you know, from my perspective, you know, I was a manufacturer's rep for 10 years before I, you know, got into this. My family business was a company called Desert Sportswear. We had a giant art department, did work for, you know, the top college bookstores and retail entities in the U.S. I used to have to go in and drag around a sample bag or a rolling rack with, you know, 4 sample bags on it and 200 samples to show people artwork. I don't have to do that anymore. All I have to do is go into GraphicsFlow, type in what I'm looking for, add some artwork from that, add the customer as a collaborator, and Brad gets instantly notified with this artwork, and he can go in and make comments and get me interacting with the artwork. So back to my client Vern, you know, that was, you know, had that kind of, he called it egg on his face experience with the pricing thing. That's part of being human, right? You know, rejection. It's part of being human. It's not fun. It's not something I personally enjoy. I don't try to take it personally. But the thing is, if you do these prospecting campaigns and you really engage people with artwork and the creative side of things, you know what? You're going to get people that bite. It's like getting lines in the water. You got different bait. You get the lines in the water. You're going to get people that bite, and then you're going to get people that just don't connect to you and they don't bite. But guess what? You don't get any bites and you don't land any fish if you don't get lines in the water. And the thing that I love about Graphics Flow is the ability to get all these lines in the water, to do prospecting, to engage clients in the creative process so that they become your customers and they don't go and shop you along. Now you take the whole thing together and you take like this incredible art kit that we did with Graphics Builder, right? We localize that artwork. We create an art approval, narrow the designs down to the ones that the clients want. We update the designs for final approval. We go to production and then we launch them into our Inksoft store. And guess what we have? We have an end-to-end solution. Design, concept, design, production, proofing, approvals, e-commerce. And then even with Inksoft, the back end, coordinating with the suppliers for the production side of things. That's a game-changing solution. And so as you look at what we've done with the new graduation collection, what we've done is we've delivered you a business module. And the neat thing, this is a really affordable product. You can just buy just this and use Corel or Illustrator, but it's also part of a bigger network of technology. And that bigger network of technology is what you see with the Smart Designer add-on software for Corel. It's what you see with GraphicsFlow. And then what you've also seen with utilizing the Inksoft platform to do the e-commerce aspect of this. That's what it's all about. So hopefully you guys enjoyed kind of experiencing Graphics Builder. Again, it's a downloadable kit. If you are a Smart Designer owner and you were to purchase it, we would just enable it in your content feed. If you just purchase Graphics Builder from the Graphics Builder page, you just download a link to the CDR in AI files. And there's also a PDF version of this catalog that's included as well, which is brilliant. And then you'd also have access to this very catalog right here that you can link into your website, which is really cool because here's the embed link right here. So that's really cool too. If you just want to directly embed the catalog into your website, you can do that as well, or link it into your social media. So that's pretty much the scoop there. What I'm going to do next is I'll turn my video on and then we'll just open it up for questions.